Welcome to the fight game, Icewater and Puma. And we're going to start off with your play son, Shakur Stevenson, winning at 135. And he did it really easily, man, watching him. And I was talking to my pop before the fight, and I'm like, hey, you need to check out these fights. It's a really good card on ESPN. And it was. There were a lot of fighters on there. Kudos to all the fighters that won. But Stevenson, the fight and what he said after the fight. That was very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people are still wondering if you always talk about it, whether or not he's gonna have his grown man strength and all that other stuff. But he came in at 135. The one thing about Shakur is you can see he's very focused, right? And the one thing he has, his ability to box and the skill set and his IQ is amazing. I don't want to compare him to Floyd Mayweather, but the way that he's able to move and stay. Now he's standing in the pocket. So he's, before people said he was running, he's not running anymore. He's calculated, he's moving around. And once he figures it out like he did against Yoshino, you got to think about this. Yoshino was undefeated, right? Mm-hmm. He also beat Nakatani, who was a hell of a fighter, and he won a couple fights. And Shakur is stepping up at 135, so it'll be a bigger weight. People said he's going to have problems trying to knock people around or hit them. And the factor that he was able to dominate once he found his place, and he started landing punches where he knocked Yoshino down a couple of times. Even the point where the ref stopped it because he wasn't doing enough. And I understand that might be an early stoppage, but the factor that Shakur Stevenson came out and shows you that he's ready to take on 135 pounders at that class and at that weight, he's ready to move forward. And the factor that he said at the end, they mentioned about Devin Haney said he was going to stay at 135 after he fights, after he gets his fight with Lomachenko. He's not going anywhere. Basically kind of giving Shakur an ultimatum. And Shakur was like, good, no problem. He said, we've been in the gym together sparring a lot of times. And he simply told him, he stated facts. Look, I got the best of you, and what's going to change now? He said, I've been waiting for this. And he don't usually talk about it, but if you're going to put it out there, he says, all y'all can get some. I'll fight anybody. And I think that he's showing you that. I think his skill set is showing you that he's really coming into his own. Like I said, Floyd is in the class by himself, but the strategic manner in which Shakur Stevenson was able to dodge punches, stay in the pocket like Floyd used to do, while Floyd does the shoulder roll, he does, just the ability to kind of move around and then come back in pocket and deliver. And once he figures you out, man, I do want to see him step up in competition, but I damn sure was impressed at 135. I mean, again, you can say what you want to. Yoshino was undefeated, is a tough customer, and he simply could not do damage to Shakur Stevenson whatsoever.
Definitely outmatched. Shout out to Keyshawn Davis, always impressing me. He's an up-and-comer you want to check out. But Fendor lost, and this was my take on Fendor, that he has the reach that he can use, but he wants to bang it out and sling it out, and it just didn't work for him in this particular fight.
Yeah, well, because when we watched the way that he's fought in this awkward style, not using the attributes, as you mentioned, the length and whatnot that he has above some of his opponents, some people might say it was just a matter of time. But you got to give him love because he was still able to bang when he fought Lubin. He was in there, he fought some other guys, and he's been really tough. And he earned his right to be there. But he ran into a buzzsaw in Brian Mendoza. Brian Mendoza is the guy that beat Rosario, before, not Rosario, but the Ryson before the other champion. And then he fights Fendor. And when you listen to Mendoza after the fight, he's like, I have nothing to lose. I had nothing to lose. People said he was losing on the card. He was down in the rounds. And he said, I just came out there and I just keep fighting and pushing. I don't know how far he's going to go or how great he's going to be, but he's a champion. And they mentioned about Charlo being next. That might be too much of a big step early on.
Yeah.
But there are enough people in there that would love to have a shot. Like, again, the Lubins of the world, somebody else that maybe would like to have a shot. There's a number of other guys that would love to step up and get a shot. So, but he will become Charlo's, I think, mandatory. But maybe he could hold that belt or whatever for a while, look at some other places. Because when you call Charlo out, you got to be ready for it. Why not, enjoy what you have as a champion first? Excuse me, get your feet wet, and then if you're ready, do it. But he has no nonsense. He's not afraid. He doesn't care. And I like him. Hell of a fight by Mendoza. And he shocked the world. He shocked Mendoza. Mendoza shocked Fendor.
Sure, yeah.
You see that big fella go down, and he was trying to stand up, and he went and hit him again. And to see him laid out, and when you see the referee count 9 and 10, he didn't even try to get up.
Yeah.
That's serious.
Yeah. We're going to jump around a little bit here. I know the fight next week, we're going to talk about that with the Garcia-Davis fight. We've been talking about that in the weeks to come. I know that I picked Davis to win probably. I say it'll go high 7 or 8 rounds until Davis can catch up to Garcia. Your thoughts on this fight?
One thing about this is the majority of people are picking Tank Davis. Ryan Garcia is young. He's athletic. He has power. He can throw his hands. He's sometimes a little edgy. He does a lot of weird stuff. And he's not proven from the standpoint of the caliber of talent that he's faced.
Right.
But with that power, people talk about the left hooks. He's dangerous. And I think Gervonta Davis knows that. So Gervonta Davis is doing extra work to try to get ready for him. Because the one thing he says, I'm going to be ready. Because if you become lackadaisical and you become lazy and you're not about your business, Ryan can catch you. And he says, I don't want to go sleep. So for him to say that about an opponent, he has a lot of respect for him. And it's going to be a tough fight, but the key is Garcia's going to have to box early and either try to get him out early or box early, and Tank's going to probably come up and try to get him late. I think Garcia has a puncher's chance, but I think the way that Gervonta Davis is coming along and developing and showing me better boxing skills, unless he gets caught, I think he can win the fight. And I think this could be one of those fights that if it does go the distance, it's going to be a bloody mess.
Yeah.
Because they both hit hard. And if it does go to decision, the faces are going to be cut up bad because they both hit hard and they throw some incredible punches.
I don't know if I see it going the distance because I don't think Ryan Garcia is battle tested based on his record and who he's fought. He's battle tested to kind of go the length and go up against a banger like Tank Davis. So that's why I'm calling it for like the 7th, 8th round, maybe a technical knockout, maybe the referee stopping the fight. I'll just give Tank Davis the edge because maybe Tank Davis sees something in Ryan Garcia that he can exploit and that he can take him to deep waters. And he takes a little time to figure you out. But once he does that, it is like a steamboat. He's going forward and he's not turning back. So I don't know if Ryan Garcia has ever faced an opponent like Tank Davis. And so that's why I'm giving Tank Davis the nod because Ryan Garcia is just not battle tested.
I can see that, and I agree with that. He's not battle tested, but his ability to punch with vigor, he's also very fast. It's like anything else. I mean, Tank Davis is taking a little punishment. I'm not sure if Tank Davis has fought anybody with this type of power. And I'm just saying that. I mean, when you look at his fights, when you go, okay, people like, well, Raleigh, Raleigh, no way. This kid has legitimate, I knock you on your ass power. I mean, when you look at him, you go, and he's not polished all the way either.
Yeah.
But when you watch his fights in the way that he's knocked people out, you go, ooh, there's potential there. And it may not be against Tank Davis, but he's raw with ambition and a lot of talent. And you got to think about a fight for Golden Boy. I don't believe they wanted him to take this fight because they thought it was too early. He's been wanting this fight for a long time, Ryan Garcia, that is. But they were like, no, let's just
like Carnelo when he took the fight too early against Floyd Mayweather. It's the same thing. They like to push these fighters up to beat Floyd and other fighters, and they're just not ready.
Well, I'm telling you, I believe the Golden Boy did not want him to take this.
Right.
I think they've been holding back. They wanted to hold him back and maybe fought somebody on a secondary type of card and maybe get one of them secondary belts. I think they wanted him to wait, but I think he finally said, And sooner or later, I gotta jump into deep water. I think he pushed for this. I think he wanted it. If it was up to Golden Boy, I don't think they would have. This is not something that they wanted him to do.
I think they would have waited at least a year or two.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
More.
agree with you.
Yeah.
But he says he wants what he wants. So, and I admire him for that. I mean, no matter what, he didn't have to take the fight, but he did. And we're going to find out if he's ready. And if he's not, go back to the drawing board. I lied. Canelo did the same thing. No shame in your game.
Right. There were two big UFC fights. Masvidal was probably his last fight. Did not look well at all. He hadn't won a fight since 2019. He has a 20-year career in fighting in MMA, and he just looked like the dog was just not in him anymore. And his opponent just kind of really took him apart. And then Israel recaptures his belt, and this is the first time he beat the opponent who I think beat him 2 times in kickboxing and once in MMA. Your thoughts about these fights?
Yeah, Masvidal, it's a wrap, bro. And I think he knows it. 20 years, very good competitor going after, won some things, and it's time to walk away. When I watched the second part of that fight, when he literally tried to turn it on, and he could not.
Didn't do it.
And the guy just, kept telling the guy to come on, and he simply could not turn the switch on. That let me know it's a wrap. And I think he knows it. I hope he does walk away with his head held high. He's done great in the sport. He sacrificed 20 years of his body, his time, and his life. So walk away, find something else to do. And if you want to still stay connected to the sport, I know Dana White will take care of him, because one of the things people that he acknowledged was Dana White, because he says, I guess they were doing the show where he's from, where I think there was like wherever the show, I think it was El Paso, whatever it was, wherever the show was.
Miami. Yeah.
Miami, man. But he said 20 years ago, I was messing around, they were doing the show, and they discovered me. So he said Dana White is the greatest, promoter / forever. So I think he might be able to get some work with UFC, if nothing else, in the booth. So congratulations, it's really good, but it's time. Israel stops Pereira. I wanted to find out from Israel. I think this guy was like what we call his kryptonite, right? Beat you in a different type of discipline. Then he came back over here and defeated you in your area where he had limited fights in the UFC. So my question is, where was Israel's heart? Where was his heart going to be? Mm-hmm. And we know, we talked about how great he was. He could have been one of the greatest of all time. But this is where he really was challenged. The other times, I think he felt like there was no way these other guys were going to beat me. But in his head, against Pereira, was like, oh man, this dude stopped me before a lot of stuff. And this second time around, I think they said, we're going to have a game plan. We're going to be cool early on. Then we're going to take a chance, and we're going to bait him, which I think they did. They baited Pereira into going for it. And it's like, you might have to take, the trainer probably said, you might take a shot. Telling Israel you might take a couple of shots, but we're going to bait him, and once he get loose, we're going to get him. And that showed a lot of calculated insight from his corner. Some people said when he swung first, he closed his eyes. Yeah, but whatever. But however it happened, you got to give it to him, because the way that he closed the show and beat him, I think it's one of those things that was always in the back of his mind, and probably thinking, I'll never see that guy again. And then they threw him right up there. It's one of them old Rocky movies. Remember me? Yeah. He's outside. That's like yeah. That guy from way back when, and he found his way to the front. And I think it's a hard lesson to learn, but I think he will learn from this, Israel that is, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, because when it happened, I thought his eyes was closed a little bit, just a little bit. But what I kind of, when I replayed it back over and over again, what happened is that his opponent, Israel's opponent, when he throws the punches, he doesn't bring it back to protect his chin. And I think they caught that on tape. Mm-hmm. And you and I could have thrown that punch if he wasn't protecting his chin and hit him in the head. I don't know how hard we would hit him, but Israel hit him pretty hard. and it took him out. So they did pick that up, that this guy sometimes does not protect after he throws those hands. He's not bringing them back to protect his chin or his head. And he caught him. He caught him good. And you're right. They baited him in. He looked like, it almost looked like the fight before when he was closing in on him and he was just rushing in, not protecting himself. And what do they say in fights? Protect yourself at all times. Yeah. And he did not. He caught one and he was laid out. So congratulations to him. This is something I thought we'd never come up and talk about. That we fantasized about it. We talked about it in other shows way long time ago. But Nate Diaz and Jake Paul are getting ready to fight. I believe it's August 5th. And I'm hoping, because I have a theory about Jake Paul that I think he pays off fighters just to make them look good and to make money. And I swore off not watching him anymore. But this is our boy. Nate Diaz is our boy. And I'm like, I can't fathom any amount of money that he would accept to be on the tape to lose against Jake Paul. Your thoughts, man?
Man, this is a fight I never thought I would ever come to fruition. I thought it never would come to life, but it did. It sounds like it is. And, money talks. And Jake Paul has been, going after the best. He also knows this is a moneymaker. This is must see. You people in the UFC would love Nate Diaz because Nate Diaz is more brash. He's one of the best trash talkers in sports, not just UFC, MMA, sports. He talks stuff that he just make you just want to lay down. He said, "What you say? I knock you out right now. The hell with the ring." And when he give you that look, that Stockton look, it's like, oh my God, he's serious. But yeah, I hope that there's not enough money for him to take a dive. But then again, you never know. I hope that if he does decide to take a dive where he's been, they told him that he has to take a dive, that he takes the money and then they agree to it. And then they get to whenever the point's supposed to happen, like third round or second round, whatever it is. And then he just goes off script and just knocks it out.
Yeah.
And he says, "Yo, I'm gonna give you your money back because I can whoop your ass." And that's the Nate Diaz thing he'll do. He'll beat him down and he'll go, "Yo,
my bad.
Here's your money back. I'm straight." I just wanted to whoop your ass. You've been talking shit all the time. I couldn't go against that. I couldn't go with that script.
Yeah, this is something I know we're going to talk about in the weeks to come, but I just can't fathom him just letting Jake Paul win because Nate Diaz can throw those hands. I know he can throw those hands, and I just hope he's really careful and that he just doesn't get that signal to fall down, and then he gets hit like slightly on the chin and he falls out and he's all over the ground putting on a show like the WWE. So I just hope it's not that way. And it's definitely something I have to watch. I swore I wasn't going to watch another Jake Paul and the Paul Brothers production, but just when I thought I was out, they just pulled me right back in, boy. I swear, he knows how to be a showman. He's like the Barnum and Bailey circus, boy. He's going to put on the greatest show on earth. And he got one of our guys that, we love to watch fight. So Nate Diaz, if you ever see us on this show, please tell us where to meet you, man, just to have some drinks and do whatever you want to do. We want to hang out with you. You our boy.
Yeah, he's a tough guy. And you got to admire. I admire Jake Paul from the marketing standpoint because he knows how to go and get the people. He has Nate Diaz. We thought he never would. And we already know what the big one is, that if he ever does this, I'm going to be done because that would be the ultimate marksman. And it might happen. Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
That will be one for the ages. Floyd's already fought his brother, and then he's like, okay, I'll fight you too now. So, but Floyd don't know how to pull them punches real well. Floyd still got a little pop left too.
Yeah. Any other news we should be looking at?
Yeah, just waiting on it to see. It appears as if during the Tank Davis-Ryan Garcia fight, they're supposed to be trying to announce that they're finalizing the Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford fight for June in Vegas. Yeah, there's a lot of negotiations going on, and sounds like it might happen. So stay tuned. Maybe next week we'll find out more, but I'm hearing a lot of rumors about that. A lot of people were saying it, and it's a fight that people have been wanting for a long time. And I think they probably said, hey, we don't want to lose on the opportunity to jump out and get this money, because there's a lot of people talking about doing some of these great fights, putting these great fights together. And why not create that as a season? Also, too, possibility of Anthony Joshua has a lot on the table. Tyson Fury's like, it's always open. The door is always open. So we talked about Anthony Joshua before, but this might be his last big payday.
Yeah.
So why not take it? Why not get in the ring and make you a lot of money, even if you get clobbered?
Yeah, because it's definitely going to be a beatdown because I don't think he has the heart to fight anymore based on what I've seen last week or the week before with Franklin. I just don't think he has it. He's Icewater. I'm Puma. This is the Fight Game.